And the pupper seems like it's going to be happier with... I don't want to call the dog it, but I'm not assuming this dog's gender. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another Power Rangers Beast Morphers episode review. While a strong quality season throughout, Beast Morphers has been swooning a bit as of late. But this is episode 18 out of 20. It's home stretch time. So, did the quality appropriately pick up as we head into the home stretch? Heroes, let's take a look at the 18th episode of Power Rangers Beast Morphers, Rewriting History. Steel is walking through the park, seeing people walking their dogs and their birds. Anyway, the other Rangers catch up and Steel asks them about having pets. They all say that it's a part of the human experience. Steel decides that this is a vital part of being human and asks Nate if he can have a pet. Nate says that if he can take care of a potted plant for 1 week, he can have a pet. I'm not exactly sure where this pet would live, but anyway, Devon takes Steel over to pick up his pet. As we head to the cyber dimension to check in on the villains, a bird flies by. Is that a cyber bird? What is that? Moving on, Scrozzle has completed the programming, so now the Robotron maker can control the memory pulsator remotely. The pulsator will broadcast a new set of memories to everyone in Coral Harbor. They will no longer remember Evox or that Blaze and Roxy are avatars. Instead, they will now remember the morphing experiment going perfectly and Ravi, Blaze, and Roxy being the Power Rangers. This will allow Blaze and Roxy to enter Grid Battle Force with no issues, pulling off an as yet unknown aspect of this plan. The pulsator works as advertised as Zoey in the lab with Nate suddenly realizes that she's not supposed to be there because she's a laundry girl and leaves. Meanwhile, over at a flower stand, Steel has his new pet plant, which he has named Spot. He notices Devon is frozen with pink energy on his head, and when he unfreezes, he suddenly freaks out, not remembering Steel or that he's the Red Ranger. He leaves, kind of freaked out by this robot that's claiming they're both Power Rangers, and Steel follows. Steel tries to think of how he can convince Devon and remembers that Devon is a gamer, offering him a chance to use Grid Battle Force's famous simulator. Devon's all in on this and follows him. They arrive at Grid Battle Force but see Blaze and Roxy just strolling right in, Steel telling Devon that they need to hide. Devon doesn't really understand, saying he's seen the two at the gym, but Steel explains that they are evil. Steel pieces together that they must be messing with people's memories, himself not being affected because he's half robot. Ben and Betty pull up back in their security officer role and say that Devon and Steel are trespassing. Ben then notices that the two are wearing Grid Battle Force communicators, a detail that I was just wondering if anybody was going to spot. Devon has no idea where the thing came from, so he gladly hands it back over. Steel, however, resists, saying that it belongs to him. Ben and Betty then try to grab him. He detaches his arm, and this leads to the apparently requisite physical comedy as the arm slapsticks the two around, even spanking Ben at one point.
Thank you so much. Now I have a couple of brain cells eternally devoted to that image, and I am going to come around to your house and take them back with a spoon.
As the arm flees, however, the communicator falls off of it anyway. Devon and Steel run around a corner, and by the way, I'm really glad that Grid Battle Force puts giant logos on every corner of their building, otherwise I might have forgotten where the two of them were. As Steel starts explaining to Devon what Morphers are and the need for their communicators, Vargoyle teleports in. He gripes that the memory pulsator didn't affect everyone, saying that he should rip that pulsator off the broadcast tower and make Scrozzle eat it. Oops, Yeah, he just kind of revealed the what and the where. Vargoyle attacks, Steel asking Devon to watch Spot while he fights. Steel can't morph, so Vargoyle has the upper hand at first, but Devon jumps in to protect his new friend. The two fight bravely, also making sure to protect the plant, which is just the right kind of charmingly silly. Vargoyle eventually realizes that they are protecting the plant, attacking it and knocking it into the air. Devon instinctively activates his super speed to catch the plant. He realizes that he has super speed, therefore he must be a Power Ranger. This is a little bit Hume hoc ergo propter hoc. Just because Devon has super speed doesn't mean that he must be a Power Ranger, but it works. He quickly leaves to get their communicators back, snatching them from the back of Ben and Betty's cart unseen. Meanwhile, Vargoyle blasts Spot, incinerating the poor plant. He then kicks Steel into a dumpster and says if he knows what's good for him, he'll stay out of their way.
Villains are stupid.
I know, right?
Devon returns and Steel pulls himself out of the dumpster. He's devastated about losing Spot, and not just because he lost a plant. He feels like he's failed at protecting everyone, the entire city. Devon tells him that he's heard about Power Rangers that they never give up, and Steel agrees. Now that they have their communicators back, Steel can teach Devon a little bit about being a Power Ranger. At Grid Battle Force, Blaze and Roxy ask the other three actual Rangers, including Zoey, to pack up the spare mega transporters for some special tests later. They agree, Zoey even saying that she guesses laundry can wait for this. Asking Zoey to help with this felt oddly visceral, like Blaze and Roxy specifically wanted her to be involved as a weird kind of revenge. Blaze and Roxy then step into the main lab. Roxy pays a visit to herself, plugging a USB into her stasis pod that she only calls a little something for later. The Rangers carry the transporters outside, Ben and Betty carrying one that gets cracked by a closing door, and they get teleported around everywhere and literally nobody cares. Devon and Steel find the memory pulsator on the roof of the news station. Steel tries to shoot it, but it's shielded. Devon tries to climb up to it, but the ladder and the entire tower actually is electrified. Devon says he'll go find the power shutoff, but Steel says they don't have time to wait. While Devon does that, Steel's just gonna climb the ladder anyway. His robot half can tank a lot of the electricity, but it is still risky. Devon runs inside, running into the producer from last week. He asks where the electric shutoff is, and it's right down that hallway with Vargoyle standing at the end of it. Devon tells the producer to evacuate the building and then goes to morph. And obviously this is going to be an instamorph. I mean, Devon's by himself and... oh my... That's right, heroes. We have an honest-to-goodness solo Ranger morph. One Ranger on the entire screen. Was that really so hard, Hasbro? Anyway, despite doing nothing but standing there and crowing at Devon, Vargoyle's upgrade runs low on Morph X. He calls Scrozzle and asks for a refill. Scrozzle says that he should have enough to use the cheetah speed, however, he'll send more if Vargoyle says please. However, Blaze and Roxy have different ideas, making their move. Scrozzle says if Vargoyle doesn't get this Morph X, he could be destroyed.
I know, it's the worst!
Vargoyle decries this betrayal, but still feels like he can take Devon down. Heroes, this is a popcorn fight. This battle is four-letter wording amazing. I know it's Go Busters footage, but ask me if I care. No, but funny you should ask. It's a super speed fight, and those are always just incredible. They fight on the ceiling, they fight on the walls, it's just epic.
That was totally wicked!
Steel reaches the pulsator, still getting hurt by the electricity, and destroys it, the explosion knocking him back off of the tower. Devon quickly gets his memories back and calls Steel to congratulate him, but there's no answer. We see Steel laying on the roof, sparking and damaged, and the lights in his eyes deactivate. The Rangers load the mega transporters into a car, but then the memory pulsator failure affects them as well. Blaze and Roxy teleport away, and just as I was getting ready to scream that they left the transporters there, those teleport away as well. Mission accomplished. Devon goes all 47 shades of badass to finish this fight. He throws his blaster, fights Vargoyle for a bit, then jumps back and just sticks his saber behind his back, forming the Beast X cannon without even looking at it. He then whips around and fires at a charging Vargoyle, the blast piercing his body, and yeah, Devon gets Steel back to Grid Battle Force, where all the Rangers are terrified that he might be gone for good. Not helping matters, the bad guys send a Gigadrone, so the Rangers have to go fight it. Zoey stops for a moment to tell Nate that she believes in him. If anyone can save Steel, he can. So it's kind of unclear what the Gigadrone is based on. There's no Robotron for it to draw data from. However, while it's not mentioned, the Gigadrone does look an awful lot like Vargoyle. That would have been a beautiful touch to be based on him directly if it was something they had mentioned. The Rangers head out in their Zords, very quickly forming the Beast X Megazord. They tank some machine gun fire and basically go straight to the finishing move. Yeah, it's another disappointing Zord fight, especially in such an epic episode. Nate finishes his repairs as the Rangers return. He activates the reboot sequence, and after a couple of tense moments, Steel wakes up. The Rangers assure him that everything is fine, and as he laments the loss of his plant, Nate assures him that saving the entire city by himself proves that he can take care of a pet. Cute little callback here, since this isn't really mentioned much, but the dog that Steel gets, named Spot, though I think Spot the Second would have been cuter, makes Devon freeze up because of his flaw. As Steel walks the dog, a little girl runs up and asks if she can pet Spot. Her mother explains that they just visited the animal shelter, but they were fresh out of puppies. By the way, kudos to Power Rangers for including this as animal shelter. Please always try to go to an animal shelter to adopt an animal rather than a pet store. When Steel sees how much the little girl and the dog seem to enjoy each other's company, he decides to give Spot to the little girl. He realizes that he doesn't have enough time to give Spot the proper attention, and the puppers will probably be happier with them. It's very sweet, with the slightest little twinge of wondering why anyone would think it was normal for a robot to be giving a little girl a puppy in the park. Skipping Ben and Betty because I do not at all care, we head back over to the cyber dimension where Blaze and Roxy are reporting on their success. 3 mega transporters for Evox, signed, sealed, and delivered. Evox asks if they sabotaged the stasis pod, and Roxy says yes. The next phase of their plan is ready to proceed. Whew! Boy, oh boy. Wow. Shades? Episode 18. Rewriting History. Pros: this is the Ranger-human balance I've been looking for, Blaze and Roxy's redemption, and that amazing fight scene. Cons: stop downplaying the Zords, Ben and Betty yet again, and overly quick wrap-ups. Okay, I'm gonna break a rule here. See, I desperately want to give this episode a 5, but all 3 cons really do add up to a slight deduction. But giving this episode a 4.5 equates it to other episodes it's clearly better than. So fine, let's fine-tune the scoring system even more. Rewriting History gets 4.75 shades out of 5. The past few episodes have given us some amazing human stories, even if, as I saw mentioned recently on Twitter, they started to veer a little towards the soap opera territory. But the Ranger side of the plot felt neglected and done out of necessity. Finally, this week, the 2 sides of the plot felt equally strong and worked together. Steel gets a cute episode of the day type plot about wanting a pet and getting a plant. But even the plant plays into the plot in a major way, mainly Steel's emotional development. This episode gave me a lot of Data from Star Trek TNG vibes. He even names his pet Spot, for goodness sake. The main human plot was Steel trying to help Devon remember that he was a Ranger and save everyone. The pet plot was just kind of what pushed the boat out into those waters, a framing device and nothing more. This is the balance that I've been asking for. I still don't think that Blaze and Roxy needed to be as downplayed in the face of Vargoyle, but this marks their triumphant return. They're part of the plan, and their betrayal is pulled at the perfect time and is just delicious. And then to find out that they were probably plotting this with Evox from the start? Fantastic. And can we just talk a little bit more about that amazing hallway fight scene? Again, yes, it's Go Busters footage, but it fits in seamlessly. I didn't actually realize this until I was looking something up on Ranger Wiki, but this episode adapts the 10th episode of Go Busters. Taking an early season episode of the Sentai and making it fit into near end of the season stakes in Power Rangers is an amazing writing accomplishment. But for a battle that epic to be followed up with one of the most anticlimactic Zord fights of the entire season was a big disconnect for me, and maybe the single largest reason I couldn't quite give this episode a 5. You have a Gigadrone that's not even connected to a Robotron for no explained reason, and the Rangers show up in their core basic Megazord, slash the thing twice, and then do the finisher. Anticlimax is really the word. It was just sad. In this episode, more than any other, you could remove Ben and Betty from the plot and lose nothing. They don't contribute to it in any meaningful way. Okay, so they are the reason that Devon and Steel can't morph when they face Vargoyle. No, actually just Devon. Steel's communicator just falls off. That could have just happened anyway. I do not need their getting teleported strange places and covered in goo, getting tickled and literally spanked by Steel's robot arm. Beast Morphers has been so good this season at a serious and more mature tone. Comic relief is not necessary and it just feels so terribly forced. And while you can sort of consider the Fury Cells and Vargoyle as one arc, that arc lasts, 4 episodes? It just wraps up way too fast. With all the setup and teasing we got over Vargoyle, it just feels like he's gone way too soon. Not to mention being destroyed by a single Beast X cannon blast like your regular monster of the day. The battle was epic, don't get me wrong, but Vargoyle being destroyed at the end just didn't really fit. But in the end, let me put it to you this way. The second half of this episode is a prime example of what Power Rangers can be and the types of stories it can tell. Steel's brave sacrifice, Devon fighting despite not knowing how before regaining his memories, the Rangers' terror at losing one of their own. It is all treated with drama and gravitas. The material is respected, and that's what we really want, right? If the finale is the payoff, the penultimate episode is the setup. Let's take a peek at the 19th episode of Beast Morphers, Target Tower. Evox and his minions begin to execute their final plan of stealing an entire MorphX tower. And that is going to wrap up another Power Rangers Beast Morphers episode review. Heroes, thank you so much as always for watching. Down in the comments below, let me know what you think about the story balance in this episode. I feel like I've been asking about that a lot, but it improved this week, at least for me. Did you feel the same way? Or was even Steel's little plot with the dog totally unnecessary? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're down there, make sure you smack that thumbs up button and let me know that you enjoyed this video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to see all of my videos and ring that bell. Get your notifications set up so you'll be notified of whenever I post brand new videos, such as these Power Rangers Beast Morphers episode reviews. And if you'd like to lend any financial support to my channel, there are 2 ways you can do so. Head on over to patreon.com/orangerangervideos. Consider becoming one of my patrons. There's a list there, the various tiers, what you get back for your support. I'd greatly appreciate that. But if you can't commit to the monthly thing, you could always head on over to ko-fi.com/orangerangervideos and buy me a coffee. They're normally imaginary, but I'll use my real bubbly this time. That's actually delicious. The coffees are usually imaginarily delicious. Those are set at $3 a piece. I greatly appreciate any financial support I find at those sites, as well as just sharing my videos, telling people about Orange Ranger videos. I greatly appreciate that. All of us TokuTubers are kind of running a little scared right now with this whole FTC YouTube COPPA thing going on. I am planning on making a State of the Channel video at some point soon to address what might happen with that, but I'm still kind of in wait and see mode right now. So I'll get that video out soon, but yeah, just support your favorite creators in whatever way you can, because a lot of them are probably feeling a little scared right now. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. And Steel decides that it is a vital part of being human, asking Steel, I'm not exactly sure where this plant, leading to the apparently prerequisite farts. He gripes that the pulsator didn't change. Vargoyle teleports in. He complains that Vargoyle teleports in. Vargoyle gripes that Scrozzle's memory pulsate. Oh god, okay, time out. Zoey stops for a moment to tell Nate that she believes in him. If anyone can save Steel, she can. He realizes that he doesn't have enough time to give Spot the attention that the dog is going to need, and they'll probably He realizes that he doesn't have enough time to give Spot the attention the dog is going to need, and the two seem to just when Spot seems to wow. He realizes that he doesn't have enough time to give Spot attention. Skipping Ben and Betty because I do not at all care. Skipping. Let's take a look at the